Captain's log supplemental. There's something hiding out on D-Deck. We keep getting reports of personnel seeing something out of the corner of their eye right before their communicator badges get stolen. I originally thought that this might be a prank by my senior staff, breaking in the new captain. But Commander Tiana had a communicator stolen this morning, and she's on a rampage now across the ship looking for the damn thing. She's insisting that it's some mischievous member of the Q Continuum. I told her that if it was, letting them get under your skin is exactly why they plagued Picard for so long. So now the whole senior staff is freaking out. I never thought I'd tell my number one to just ignore a problem, but here we are.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Captain's Log Supplemental. My name is Stanford. I am joined by my two buddies and co-hosts, Rob and Chris.
Hello.
Hey there, ho there.
And we are joined by our lovely producer and my fantastic wife, Mariah.
Hi there.
Captain's Log Supplemental is a Star Trek rewatch podcast. We are rewatching all of Star Trek in canon chronological order. We have finished up with Enterprise. We took a quick jaunt into the old series to grab the original pilot episode.
The Cage.
Last week, and then now we are starting with Discovery. If you like what you hear, or you don't, fuck it. Go ahead and give us a 5-star review, because we are 5-star people. And, make sure you tell your friends and loved ones about us, or your most hated enemies, or anything in between. So anyways, now that I got that shit out of the way. So, Chris, how was the wedding?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, brother got wedded. But my brother got wedded. My brother got married. It was a lot of fun. It was great. We were up in the Poconos, and he was very happy. He cried the whole time, pretty much. So
congratulations, Eric. He has been on the podcast a couple times now. So
yeah. Yep, so very happy for him. It was great to see him and everybody else too while I was up there. So it was a good time. Plus, they had a pretzel bar, so
that's
really.
I said it to you when you first said it. Like, that's the most Philadelphia wedding thing I've ever heard of. Like,
they also had like a French fry bar, which was great.
Oh, the French fry bar was amazing.
The fuck is a French fry bar? Oh, steak fries are the only kind of French fries I like.
Those had steak fries. It had sweet potato waffle fries.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Usually sweet potato fries are in their own category. Sweet potato fries are fucking good. I love really sweet potato fries.
Yep, with various dips and stuff. Oh, it's great. Plus lots of just very good hors d'oeuvres that were served. They had this beef thing on like a crostini and the shepherd's pies and shit. It was amazing.
Oh god, the shepherd's pies were so good. I like those, the little chicken and steak quesadilla things.
Oh, I missed that one.
Oh, so good.
Man, next time people go to a wedding that we can't go to, we need to send a cooler.
I mean, you could go. You were just otherwise occupied.
Yeah, no, I didn't say I was not physically capable. I was saying that we couldn't go because we had a scheduling conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit cold and a little bit rainy. But so the original wedding spot that they were planning on having the actual ceremony didn't happen. They went to kind of a more plan B site, but otherwise it was great.
They went to a secondary location.
Yes, secondary location.
Now, Chris, so I know that you basically, you were here in Philly. That's why we recorded last week, kind of all in one room.
Yep.
Did you end up getting your cheesesteak and your pizza and stuff?
Oh fuck yeah, man! I hit all of the Philly staples, especially the only thing I hadn't done was pretzels, so I was very happy they had the pretzel bar.
Thank God Eric had to save on that. Yeah. Did you get any pierogies while you were here?
We ordered pierogies with the pizza actually.
Oh, their pierogies are fine. They're just that standard
fine.
Pizza shop crispy fried pierogi. Yeah.
Like I said, though, we have a Polish cafe here in town that's run by like a little old Nona.
Ooh, can you get piggies?
I don't know.
It's like a cat. They may call it. There's an actual Polish name for it, but up by my dad, they called them piggies. But they're like cabbage leaves that are stuffed with ground beef and cabbage.
Oh yeah. I forget what they call them.
It's not halushka, is it? Is that halushka?
No,
halushka is the stuff that goes in the pierogi, right? The cabbage stuffing. Anyways, the piggies are really
No.
good.
Amy is rolling her eyes.
Look, you're a producer.
So,
Message Amy and ask her what they call piggies.
There was a weird tie-in at the wedding to tonight's new franchise. Well, I guess series of the franchise. So we got sat at a table with a couple of Eric's LARP friends.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And Diane, hello Diane, if you're listening, informed me after one of the bridesmaids had just walked out to like the disco intro theme.
Oh, that's fun.
And yeah, Diane, one of the people that was sitting at our table, mentioned that she's related to, I can't remember if she said it was her cousin or her niece, plays Laurel, the Klingon, like eventually becomes High Chancellor.
Oh, really? That's interesting. My mom actually knows that person, like, personally.
That's hilarious.
Laurel, yeah. Apparently she's in and around Florida and in and around the improv scene down there, so my mom, like, knows her.
Interesting.
That's interesting. So we got to get her. Tell her, was it Diane? Diane, look, I love you very much. You want to come on the podcast? Bring your cousin.
I have never met you.
But I already love you.
So the piggies are the stuffed cabbage rolls.
Mm-hmm.
We're called golapki.
Oh, okay.
There's beef and pork filling wrapped in cabbage leaves. The halushki is the sautéed soft noodles and cabbage. And that's what Amy made with the leftover pierogi dough.
Mix. Right,
or like the pierogies, not the mix, the dough.
Right, and the cabbage mix that she puts on the inside. Yeah.
And onions, yeah.
Yeah. That stuff's pretty good too. But yeah, it's like a deconstructed cabbage pierogi. Because actually it's because of Amy and John and making pierogies that I've had pierogies that are not just like potato. Because they do the cabbage ones, which are very interesting.
I don't think I've ever had one with cabbage in it.
Yeah, it doesn't have any potato in it. It's just like a cabbage onion like cooked mixture that goes inside. It's just pretty good. It's got that kind of sweetness that onions and cabbage get when they're sautéed. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
I'm surprised you never had any, because like I can't remember. Did you ever go to Knoebels when we went camping there, Chris?
We went camping there one time.
Oh, okay. So, like, I went there every year with the Snyders, and there's, like, a pierogi, like, pavilion.
Yeah, there
where
is.
You can just go, and they just make you, like, pierogies.
I believe it's called the Pierogi Pavilion, yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that place is, Knoebels is fun.
Yeah, we only went the one time. It was, like, in high school. I went with all you guys. I think, like, there's other people there, too, but yeah. I remember that camping trip for a couple reasons, but also one of them was because we woke up in the middle of the night to a heavy thunderstorm, and like the awning on I think it was somebody's RV like collapsed from all the rain. Oh my god, it was terrible.
Oh man, camping through a thunderstorm is one of the most like. If you're in a good spot, it's the best experience. It's so much fun. It's like the rain is nice. It just feels very comfortable. But if you're not in a great spot and your tent's shaking all over the fucking place, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, all right. Well, I'm glad that everyone's weekend went pretty well. We were in Salem. It was all right, but we can talk about that next time. This week's
right. It was amazing.
Yeah, we had a good time, but like I just don't want to. Like I don't know. This is about.
No, it's fine. We don't have to talk about it. But don't be like.
This is about Eric. Eric.
Way to pander to the fans.
Hell yeah, man! We got all the ones of them. We got to make sure. John, go do something special. We can pander to you. All right. So this week's
for some pierogies.
Oh God, we didn't do pierogi last year, did we? Oh man, fuck. We gotta make some pierogies. All right, so this week's episode is the first episode of Discovery. It is called The Vulcan Hello. As kind of a preface trivia fact, this is the first episode of Star Trek that had been aired in 14 years. Or no, excuse me, 2005. 12 years since...
I think 14's right. It sounded right.
This aired in 2017. So I think Enterprise was out there in 2005. So I think it's 12 years. It aired on CBS as part one of a two-part like intro episode. And And the second part was actually done straight to their streaming service. So it actually kind of holds this weird, I don't know.
Yeah, this is actually the first. It is also the first series premiere.
Wait, is this a fun fact with Chris?
It is, yes. They made the return.
Oh my god. When there's some trivia you can't miss. It's a fun fact with Chris.
Man, how long have you had that one locked and loaded? It's been a minute since I did it.
It's been a minute, yeah.
All right.
It got worse.
So this is the first Star Trek series premiere since Beyond the Farthest Star in 1973, not to be a feature-length episode. However, as you mentioned, Battle at the Binary Stars, the second episode, is uploaded to CBS All Access, the now defunct, I think, CBS streaming platform, for streaming immediately following the premiere.
Did the CBS streaming service just go away?
I'm fairly sure it did, didn't it?
I've never used it, so I don't fucking know.
I used it 1 year to watch the Super Bowl.
Dork.
That was it.
Anyways, let's get back to our Star Trek podcast. So kind of interesting. This is actually the first, this is also the first time that like a Star Trek episode has existed like on network television, and then the other one was only on streaming, but it was also like the first time Star Trek was like involved with streaming at the same time, so it's one of those kind of things.
Yeah. Also, another first. This is the first live-action episode of Star Trek since Turnabout Intruder in 1969 to be produced with zero involvement from Rick Berman.
Thank fuck. All right, so as we cold open on this one, we get some trippy Klingon talking. They've kind of rejiggered how the Klingon language sounds in this by mostly like making it sound like their mouths are filled with marbles while they're talking.
Yeah.
It's fine. We get to see some of the newer Klingons, and I'm gonna be okay. So this is me being vulnerable and honest right now. I didn't hate the new Klingons.
Oh, that's funny because I absolutely hate the new Klingons.
I find that I like the fact that they're at least fucking different than just a human with some shit on their face. Now, it's a human with some shit all over their face and head and like their hands, but like still, at least it's something different.
It made them too, like, I don't know, like
alien. Say alien to my face right now.
No, not alien. That's not what I was gonna say. They made them too, like, I don't know, sinister and like.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Like evil looking when we've got mountains. Although I understand that at this point we don't know that Discovery is part of canon.
Right. Yeah. As I understand it, the intent was not necessarily to be very canon specific. I think that whoever was the visual director of this show was trying to go a new direction. And I think that like as a purposeful departure from previous Star Trek, so as not to be weighed down by it. Sure. So like, I think that is why some of these decisions were made, because otherwise why change the Klingons?
Exactly, which makes sense. I mean, I get it. And I think maybe for the tone of this show and the tone of the Klingons in this show, those design choices make sense.
Sure.
But the fact that it is indeed canon now with the rest of the Star Trek universe just makes it feel weird.
It does feel weird. I don't disagree. But I don't, like I said, in a vacuum though, I don't hate the design.
Sure.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time that, the Klingons look different.
No, it's not, I do appreciate that this show literally starts on a literal speech, like it is a speech being given in the universe to another person, which is funny to me because, like, I call this Star Trek speeches. And as the Klingons talk about how, like, the Federation, like, are sworn enemies, and they claim they come in peace, but all they want to do is kill us, and we are, sacred trust to right, and blah, blah, blah. But typical, like, bad guy shit, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they think that the Federation's coming to kill them. It feels very xenophobic, like they're coming to, like, interbreed with us and ruin Klingon purity.
I did not catch that vibe, but like that doesn't mean I was right. I also have my own neuro spiciness does not allow me to follow subtitles very well, so I may have just gotten lost. Because this was all in Klingon. Like there was no English whatsoever during this sequence.
Like the thing they keep chanting at the end of all of their speeches is "Remain Klingon." I don't know.
Sure.
It feels
Yeah.
very Nazi Germany.
So what you're
no,
saying
it's
is
very-
they're trying to make the Empire great again?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, literally, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, don't like that.
It's mega. It's mega.
It's mega. Yeah, mega. Just like in the Mirror Universe. So
Make Empire great again. Yep.
So we then cut to a deserty planet where the characters that we're going to meet and fall in love with, theoretically, for this show, are walking through like a desert dressed in like, I don't know, they look kind of like the outfits that Khan and them wore in the second movie, with the weird goggles and the
Generic deserty clothes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna like, I'm kind of a sucker for a desert setting, so like, I was like, yeah, these are fucking cool clothes. We are introduced to Michael Burnham, who is currently a Commander Burnham, and to Captain Giorgio. They belong to a spacecraft called the Shenzhou. Shenzhou, yeah. Because, and this is like my first like actual complaint about this show, and like, because like I said, like Klingons are fine, their speech is bad guy-y, but like whatever, it's fine. Because I guess they decided that we wanted to be in media res with these two on this current like away mission. They have to like exposit everything about the current mission to us, and it's very, very awkward. Like it doesn't flow as a normal conversation whatsoever.
I don't know. I was just distracted by them walking through the baby stomping fields.
They were stomping so many babies.
Or
Or at least they should have been, yeah.
There was a lot of eggs that needed stomping in that.
Yeah, they were very dry and stompable.
Yeah.
But basically, like, we find out that they're on this planet to save them from some fucking horrible,
Drought.
Oh, that's right. It was a drought.
It's going to be an 89-year drought or something.
Yeah, but like they are dropping heavy exposition about what's going on right now in a way that's like, it's okay. Like, you didn't have to tell us every goddamn detail about what's happening right now. Like, we could just enjoy the time.
Yeah, we also get a reference to General Order 1 too.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, the Prime Directive.
I was just gonna say, like, we also had to be informed that they were just nonchalantly breaking the Prime Directive as the first action we see them taking in the show.
Well,
They were skirting around
they
it.
were skirting it. Now, of course, Giorgio is played by the quite famous Michelle Yeoh. Burnham is played by an actor who is relatively unknown until this show. Sonequa, what is her name?
Sonequa Martin Green.
Sonequa.
Yeah, she at this point, and this is actually part of my potpourri.
Okay.
This is going into her career, but yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, this is like, I would say for sure probably her biggest role to this point, and since.
Well, it's only. I mean,
well.
the show's only been off for a year, so yeah.
Yeah.
She and she's fine. They go over to a well and like fire a phaser shot straight down the well, which like Giorgio just eyeballs this fucking shot. It was incredible. Just the straightest shot for like 200 or 2,000 meters or some shit.
It's like shooting womp rats back home.
Yeah. My next note is thank you, Michael, for explaining everything down to the last detail. And then there's like a storm rolling in that like disallows them from communicating to the ship and therefore from getting transporter locked. They're like, Michael says again, I don't know what was going on here. Michael says, and this is a direct quote, "We're far too small to be seen with the naked eye, and you have to see the stars to set a course." What the fuck does that mean? And who talks like that? But also, do you? A compass lets you set a course? Like, what the fuck?
And this is just the dialogue itself is one thing, but also like, I don't know, she just has this way of speaking.
Yes, which I think was more so in these first few episodes, and then it kind of tames down. It's this like pseudo Vulcan kind of way of speaking.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's the closest thing to it. Yeah,
because she's supposedly like an adopted Vulcan, effectively, even though she is human.
I mean, it's not supposedly; that's what she is.
Well, I guess like yes, I try to like. supposedly is not the right word. Yeah, but basically, like, I'm trying to point out that like she is a human, but she was adopted by Vulcan parents, so like she's culturally a Vulcan.
I mean, only her dad is a Vulcan.
Oh, snap.
Oh, I guess that's true. Shit.
Yeah,
'cause
bitch.
The mom's Amanda.
Nerd mic drop.
Anyways, Giorgio says, let's take a walk. And Burnham's like, but they do. And then they circle back to their own steps, and Burnham's like, what the fuck? And then like the Shenzhou comes and gets them because apparently Giorgio walked them in the path of like the Federation symbol so that the Shenzhou could find them.
Yeah, it was silly.
Sure, that might as well happen. The Shenzhou could just kind of be in atmosphere, which is kind of cool. And then, like, cool. It's this other thing where it's like, Captain, why didn't you just tell her the plan? Like, you could have just said that this is what you were planning on doing. It's fine. She could have figured it out. But we get into the opening credits, and this is where I'm like, I kind of miss the character of Faith of the Heart. I'm not saying it was a good song, but I am saying it had character.
No, this was wonderful.
Shitty character. Yeah, this is way better.
I'm not a fan of just the random fucking like Game of Thrones inspired CGI visuals that all intros have anymore, but it's fine.
I agree. Yeah. I'm so tired of it.
Like, it does seem very much like some of these intros in these shows are like another show in of itself.
Yeah. But like every single like popular show anymore does this now. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, all right, we get it. Everyone loved the Game of Thrones intro. Okay, let's move on, please. All right, we get into Act 1. Burnham is leaving a log. She is pointing out that like
she's on the toilet shitting?
No,
Oh. Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
By the way, she starts this with the date, which, going by the last actual like episode of Enterprise that wasn't a holodeck
sure
episode, we are 101 years, 3 months, and 19 days after the events of Terra Prime, which was the second to last episode.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was about to say that like she gives a star date, but then she also gives like an old Gregorian date, which is. I get why they did it because they want to like give people like what they're thinking, but like there's also this level of like why would she do that? That's kind of weird. But it's fine. So May 11th, 2256. Yep. It is a stark jump from watching Enterprise, then back to the cage, and then to here.
It really was
quality of CGI because the ships look fucking amazing.
Yeah. So quality of CGI, just overall, like, filming quality.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
We're watching a real TV series now.
Yeah, really, though.
Oh, man. It's going to be awful to go back to TOS after this. In terms of those particular aspects. Because the show needs to... There's a if anything this episode demonstrates is that they have a timing problem. And the timing problem for this is that, like, there's a lot of time spent on things that are very visually interesting, but don't move the plot a whole lot. So therefore, they had to speed up the plot moving parts. And one of the biggest issues, especially at first, is that, like, they have to pretend that these people we've never met before have a witty repartee that they kind of do. And it feels so forced and awkward because we don't know who any of them are. So they kind of have to like explain who they are on the fly. So it's very much that level of like, it's like, oh man, just as an example, this is not something for the episode, but like, oh man, we almost hit that asteroid. What are you doing to us, Pilot Yeoman Stevenson? And it's like, oh, sorry, Captain. You know how I be with my drinking. Like it was that kind of level of like forcing everyone to get a character real fucking quick.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of that, especially since like half of these characters we're seeing are not gonna be here long.
Right. Which is why those ones mostly they're the most of the non-named characters, their witty repartee is just like the camera hits them so that they can smile appreciatively at named characters making funny jokes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a weird interaction. And I think they could have cut the entire cold open with the Klingons. They could have just started on the desert planet, and that would have given them those like 5 or 10 minutes that they could have used to actually develop some better repartee here, you know?
I don't think it was necessary. I think it actually would have been more interesting if we didn't see the Klingons
100%. I think if we never got inside the Klingon ship until part 2 of this episode would have been fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if the first time you see Aiden Klingon is when she's on the thing and dude 100%. Pulls out a batleth, wow, 100%. Great reveal.
That would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why they didn't do that.
Yeah, well, I think they're trying to establish that like the main Klingons we're seeing right now are a part of some weird religious cult and aren't normal for the rest of the Empire.
But we can go back and learn that again later, right? Like, we could have learned that at the funeral for that dude.
Like I said, I don't think it's the worst, but I think if they held off on getting into the Klingons until after that, then like because that would be such an impactful reveal if like dude on that relic thing is the first Klingon you see.
It turns out the Shenzhou is in this new sector of space looking after some kind of like beacon or some kind of like relay or something that the Federation has here that is not working. Rather than having any kind of interesting investigation or intrigue, Saru just goes ahead and tells us it's been tampered with, like something's been sabotaged about it, like it's been targeted by an attack. Now, suspecting that like things are attacks is kind of Saru's character's thing. So like I get it from that angle, but also it's like you could have let it sizzle for a minute or two, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point it's just like they got to move it along. So
yeah, they are moving everything along. My next note is such funny repartee. What a great crew dynamic.
My question, my comment was, I don't remember this sassy white guy. He dies, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
100%. The other thing too is like Burnham like kind of elbows Saru out of the way when she's like doing something. Does she not have her own place on the bridge to be?
Well, I guess he's at the science station, right? So she's gotta do the science there, I guess. I don't know.
But like she never actually settles into a station on this bridge unless she's like in the captain's seat.
I don't know.
They're trying to figure out, they're getting a weird reading from inside the asteroid belt. They're trying to figure out what it is, but it's scattering optical sensors. So they think like, oh, I've got an idea. And Giorgio apparently has some like old telescope. Although my question is like, if the telescope works, what are optical sensors then? Because why wouldn't they also work? Aren't optical sensors just fucking telescopes? Isn't that how they work?
But it's computer telescopes, where it's not just glass lenses.
So there's a discussion about, like, well, we need to figure out what this thing is. It looks kind of weird, but it's hard to see from this distance, even with this telescope. And it's like, all right, well, how about, and they don't have, because of the radiation in the belt, no one can, I guess they can't fly a shuttle over there for whatever reason.
Right, yeah.
So they're like, well, we can take an EVA suit, but because there's radiation in the belt, someone can only be out in the radiation, even in an EVA suit, for 20 minutes. And so, and this is very clearly stated, Burnham is told that her job is to do a flyby of this thing. And I want to re-emphasize that the mission is to do a flyby of this object, to just kind of scope it out from a little bit closer and then come back to the ship so that she doesn't get killed by the radiation. Okay.
Yeah, Burnham was real bad with errors with following orders.
It is too.
But she's an anthropologist, though.
Burnham gets suited up. They cheeky white guy on the bridge makes a little announcement to her like it's some kind of fucking airline announcement, because that's funny. That's real topical for 2256.
Right.
And this is where I'm like, this is a lot of screen time for this, because there's a lot of screen time spent like watching her go up in the elevator.
I was to say, I thought you were more referring to like the space shot, which, by the way, gorgeous. Like,
absolutely, no comments on the gorgeousness of the visuals. But yeah, her getting out of the ship and like looking out on the asteroid belts. The ship looks great. The visual backdrops look fantastic. It's great.
We also get a new computer voice because obviously,
Yes.
Major Barrett at this point. I don't know if she had.
I don't think she was quite dead yet. No,
Not yet.
Yeah, she passed away. Didn't she pass away while Enterprise was on? No, maybe not.
No, I think it was more recent. But anyway, she's no longer the voice of the computer. It's now Taisha Valenza. Was the name of the actress who played the computer voice now. So.
Interesting. Okay. This thing is 2,000 kilometers away. She's going to get there and back in 20 minutes, which means she has to average 12,000 kilometers per hour. So, like, that's a lot of acceleration. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like, she would be basically paced if she managed to get there and back in 20 minutes.
Did you guys see that Daft Punk was playing on the bridge as well?
What? No. Oh, yes, I did. Yeah. Wait. I haven't. I was like, was that a crew?
cyborg?
Was that crew member just a microwave with a body? Like,
Pretty much, yeah. She's not named in the episode. Apparently, the character is named Ensign Jira Narwani, who I guess has this equipment on to like do her tactical stuff. But there's like she's referenced in a couple of novels from like Discovery series.
Is it like an adaptive cybernetic device?
It's
like
apparently a virtual reality tactical helmet. So, but apparently the prop maker for it, who created it, dubbed her Snail Girl, which okay,
rude. Yeah. So basically, she just has this. She's just her entire fit. I thought that it was like either like a robotic crew member or
that's what I
like
thought.
some kind of cybernetic implant. I didn't realize it was just like a piece of
fucking
equipment.
helmet. Yeah.
Crazy. So, of course, as I said, the mission is a flyby. So the first thing Michael does is come to a complete stop in order to talk about what she's seeing.
Mm-hmm.
The definition of a flyby.
But by that point, she's already lost comms, by the way.
Right. Yeah. And so she's logging into her thing, and she talks like a postdoc who's really trying hard to sound profound.
Yeah.
It's really,
this is really like where that speech pattern that she has in this episode is like.
She's just weirdly stilted academic, but like trying to be like poetic, and it's odd. It's just an odd way to talk. I said this is a very close quote unquote flyby because she's like, I'm gonna go land on the thing and see what's up. And then, like, as she's on the thing, her suit goes proximity alert, and she looks up and gasps. It's a Klingon with a batleth.
The skinniest fucking batleth.
Yeah, the new batleth. I'm that is fine. It's whatever. I'm a little like that would probably be more useful, but also like you're losing some of the iconic like. But it's fine.
Yeah.
They're going a new way with it. I guess, like, she couldn't just use her shockingly fast boost pack to get away from this situation. The Klingon swings at her, she ducks back, charges into him with a small boost, and accidentally kills him.
The worst Klingon warrior ever.
Yeah, pretty much. He just immediately loses. Although, to be fair, it seemed like he was also surprised to see her. And then she kind of loses consciousness as like her she kind of like I
her
guess she got
damaged. And
did she get
she, like,
stabbed?
shattered her
She
helmet.
fucked up her equipment. Yeah. In Act 2, we get back to the inside of the Klingon ship. Now, we did not get a good sense of the time jump here. I thought it had been like a few minutes, and I'm like, wow, they mummified that guy really fucking fast. But it turns out it had been hours. We just get kind of a weird jump in time here.
Yeah.
But yeah, she killed someone who is called the Torchbearer. The Klingons are all pissy about it. But they're like, well. So this is, Chris, do you have trivia on this burial thing?
So the one note I had on this is you do get the Klingon death whale.
Yep.
Which do you all know what the death whale is actually for? It's not just grief.
You should explain it, even though I do.
Okay, so the Klingon death whale is not a yell of grief in the Klingons. It is Klingons announcing to Stovokor that a worthy warrior is joining them.
Right. Now, I remember there being a fair amount of complaints about this particular scene because, famously, in several episodes of Star Trek in previous season or series, once the death whale is completed, the Klingons do not give a fuck about a body. It is just meat to them. But these Klingons seem to like relish the ritual of like quote unquote burying their body, where it's actually like a coffin that they just put on the outside of their ship as like gross corpse armor.
Yeah, as I say, that's what they reference later. Is like their entire ship is surrounded with coffins.
Right, but like,
do you know what it's called?
A corpse ship.
Yeah, the ship is called the sarcophagus.
Sure.
But like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, the Klingons don't have sarcophagi. Like, they specifically don't have a ritual for after the body is dead, because like that body is meaningless. So it's so a lot of people bitch about it. I don't give a fuck. Like, whatever. We're fucking with lore in every single season. So like,
also, like I said, as we mentioned before, at this point, this is still not viewed as canon.
Right?
Yeah.
Gross corpse armor. We get and then is this where they do the hand off the bat'leth, or does that happen in a little bit?
Next note I had in here was the Burnham flashback.
Burnham thing.
Scene.
Okay, so we get to a Burnham flashback where she's a child, and it turns out Vulcan school is fucking rough. Because for some reason she's doing, I don't know if it's like, I don't know, we don't get a good idea of whether or not this is like, is this how Vulcan school is, or is this like a quiz that they're taking? But basically she's in like a learning pod that we actually picked up from the Kelvin timeline. That's where that first showed up. Where like she's like surrounded by screens that are asking her questions that she's supposed to know the answers to. And the questions
immediately, by the way.
The questions are like, hey, what's 2 + 2? Why it's 4? And there's like, hey, you know how your parents died? Let's go real hard and deep into that specific moment of history right now. It's rough.
And then they have like 2 seconds to answer. Then the automated Vulcan message is like, I guess you're dumb. You took too long.
Yeah, and then her Vulcan dad is like, how dare you be traumatized by this traumatizing thing, you little bitch.
Vulcan dad, Sarek, by the way.
Sarek, yep. I don't know that we get his name right there, do we? I'm not sure we get his name at all in this.
Doesn't she say it when she calls him later? Yeah.
Maybe. We'll talk about that when we get there then. But Burnham wakes up. It turns out she has been recovered by the Shenzhou, and she is in the medical bay. The med bay. It has been for several hours, which makes more sense for how quickly they mummified that Klingon earlier. She's like, oh my god, there are Klingons out there. And I'm like, did no one check the fucking suit recording? But I guess it got damaged. It seems weirdly hard for Burnham to convince like the medical staff that like, hey, I was out there and got injured. There might be a fucking emergency, so maybe I need to go talk to someone, because the medical staff's like, what are you doing? Whoa. But also, like, Burnham could have just messaged up to the bridge. It would have been fine.
I mean, she's also recovering from acute radiation sickness.
Yeah, but she could have used a radio or whatever.
Just tons of lesions on her.
So she tells everybody that a Klingon ambushed her, which feels a little victim blaming, if I'm honest. Like, 'cause if I broke into someone's house and then like that person was like, hey, get out of here with their baseball bat, and then I took that bat and shattered their skull and fled out a window, I wouldn't be like, I was ambushed.
Yeah, I agree. It's quite a choice of words there, Burnham.
But she's on the bridge and she's explaining to Giorgio while she's in, I guess, is this what you meant by the robe? She's in like a medical robe here.
Jumping back, I was just saying, jumping back to the ambush thing. It didn't come 100% across to me, but I also had the thought while I was watching the episode. Was this whole like relic thing just like, this was intended as a setup, right, to bring them in and get them to investigate it and get basically the casus belli of against the Federation, right?
I think that, I don't think the relic was that.
But like, why else was
I
it
think
there?
It was.
No, the relic had a different purpose. The relic was there for a reason.
Yeah. It was so Takaba, like the whole thing with this cult is they're supposed to reunite the clans under a new caliphate, and basically it was foretold that all 24 houses of the Klingon Empire's like advisory board would show up when this beacon got lit, and that's the torchbearer's job, is to go light the beacon. Another hand touches the beacon.
Right, another hand touches me. Right, but my point is that the beacon didn't exist there in order to draw the Federation into a fight. I think that the cult attacked the Federation station in order to lure them into a fight.
Yeah, but I think that they dropped the beacon there.
No, the relic has been there the relic has been there. Yes.
Well, this is Federation space, though.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I was under the impression the relic had been there for a while.
No, this is Federation space. It's on the border, sure.
Yeah, but they also cloak, so like you don't know how long this shit's been there.
Yeah, they cloaked because they were laying a trap.
I think, and I think this is the episode not quite getting across as clearly as maybe they could have. That you guys have disagreement on this. I lean towards it was part of the trap, but I can understand why you say it's not the case.
That may be better explained in the next half. I don't know. I see what you're saying, and I was not, because they've been here for like hundreds of years.
But also, they just had a dude chilling on the outside of this relic.
I don't know the answer to that, because I was under the impression that there was always a Klingon over there, like whether he was there like all the time or not.
I don't think they've been here for hundreds of years either.
Yeah, they've definitely been here for a fucking while. That was why there were all those sarcophaguses on top of their ship. Decades. They said, the Saru said decades.
Well, the ships, they've had the
yeah, I think the ship has been here for decades. I think that was the whole point, right?
No, because
Federation space.
Takuvma.
Well, it's. I mean, but like not to them. They don't give a shit. They're Klingons.
Like Takuvma got the ship back from his schoolyard bullies, and then started a cult like you do.
Was this exposited in the very first scene?
Did I miss that? Yeah, I missed the schoolyard bullies part.
No, remember, like he talks about how like he had to go and recover his father's ship, and that Klingon children were using it as a playground, and then you get a cutscene of him getting the shit kicked out of him when he tells them.
Oh, this is later on.
Fuck
you're
off.
Talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't watched Discovery in a long time, so I
no. That was this episode. That happened in this episode.
There was a Klingon
Did you guys
flashback?
watch this episode? Yes.
I do not remember a Klingon
You didn't
flashback.
watch both parts, did you? We only watched the first half.
No. I don't think so.
How long was the episode you watched?
Was it an hour and a half?
No, it was only like 40 minutes.
I do not remember the scene you're describing at all.
No, a little bit.
God. I'm gonna laugh when it's like
it might be
the
in
cold
my notes.
open for next week,
or it's like in my notes. It's like, oh, it's right here. All right, well, we'll get back to that. I don't know. Like, I feel like being ambiguous on this point, as long as it gets explained at some point, isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, I don't mind having a difference of opinions on why like this kind of lore exists. So, like, let's see. I don't know. Maybe they do explain it better. Maybe Rob's just peeking ahead. It's been a while since I've seen this show. Let's see.
I did just watch it like a year ago, so maybe my memories are just bleeding in.
Yeah, maybe. Burnham explains that like this is really bad. Giorgio says shields up, yada yada yada. Saru says let's get the fuck out of here. Giorgio says no, retreat is not an option, which I do not understand that sentiment whatsoever, because y'all are here to fix a fucking satellite. Like, what do you mean retreat is not an option? Go get some fucking help. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so I think they loosely try to touch on that a little bit later when George is talking about like close by systems that are unprotected.
Yes. But also they could have just gone to the nearest one and hung out there until the rest of their fucking backup got here. I don't know. It's just weird. It's a weird approach for being the Federation. Especially because there's like no aggression yet other than like this one station kind of. Anyways, the Klingon ship decloaks and it's a big boy ship. It is huge.
It is a big boy.
And the Shenzhou doesn't back off as we like kind of go to commercial break, looking at the two ships like right the fuck next to each other.
I appreciated the kind of askew lineup here. That was.
I just said, you know what? Fair enough. It is weird when the ships aren't lined up on the same plane because they're kind of like off at an angle from each other, and I'm like, this is awkward to look at. So like, I take back all like the fact that I was always like, well, how are all the ships always lined up? Like, good, thank you for being lined up at this point.
Yeah, we get. I think is it around here we get the we haven't engaged the Klingons line from Giorgio, which is kind of a hat tip to the we have engaged the Borg line that Picard gives in the Best of Both Worlds.
Oh yeah, I guess it is.
I think they're leaning into that, overwhelming enemy type feel they're trying to go for.
Interesting. I have a note here that says I also doubt this will work, but I'm not sure what that's in reference to.
I also don't know what that's in reference to.
Oh, well, we'll let it go. On the Klingon ship, the Klingons are like trying to, the torchbearer's dead, and the Klingons like, who will go light the torch? And all of the Klingons are being pussies about it, in that typical Klingon way. Except for this one guy's like, I'll do it. And the leader's like,
it's Vok, son of None.
Yeah,
Vok.
Son of None, which, because Vok, son of None is like, the leader's like, bitch, you're not even like part of a house. We don't know. You just sprang forth from some lady. We don't know who you are. And this guy's also like an albino Klingon, which no one mentions until he does. Cause like he's like, I can do it, watch. And then he burns his hand, like to prove how dedicated of a Klingon he is. And this works. I mean, fucking joke's on me, it works. And the guy's like, the leader did actually. I'm sorry. No one mentions this guy's albinism until the leader comes over and goes, you are a disgusting monster that we all hate to look at, but you know what? You can be all right. It's like, Jesus, man, that's a little rough. And then he gives them a bat lift, which is, they're skinnier, but they're also longer, so they're still pretty fucking unwieldy, actually. Yeah,
it's a perfect example. Dude stabs himself the first scene.
We get back to the Shenzhou where Giorgio and Burnham are talking about what the best course of action here is, and Saru explains that. Oh, sorry, did I miss something?
There's the call that Giorgio's on with the
Admiral.
Oh no. Okay, that's after this. That's after this one.
That's just after this. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, because that's after the beacon and what, right? Or no, I don't.
No, that's before that.
Oh yeah. No, I got it. I know where it is. Okay, I've got it in my notes. But yeah, Saru is explaining that his world is binary. You're either hunter or prey. That doesn't make any sense. Like, what are the prey eating? Is it like everybody's a filter feeder except for the predators? Like, your ecology can't be binary. That's not how ecology works.
Outside of that, I think this is actually an interesting scene that conveyed a feeling of foreboding to the episode that was I think appreciated.
Yeah, you liked it?
I did. I liked it.
All right, I retract. Never mind. I apologize. This was a perfect scene. I don't know. So this is going to be a fucking. This is going. Okay, let me. This is a Stanford confessional time, everybody. Here we go. I don't like Saru.
I generally
never
also
liked him.
don't.
I find him annoying as fuck, and generally it's because his character is, I think, kind of weirdly like 2-dimensional. Even though that's ironic considering how skinny that actor is. But like, he's got one shtick, and it doesn't change until like season 3, which we're not going to get to forever. So like, I find him annoying.
I like Saru.
I go back and forth on him. Like, sometimes I think he's interesting, but yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. So there is a call with the Admiral. They're talking about like what to do with the Klingons, and Giorgio and the Admiral are like, we're not at war, and Burnham's like, we are at war, and they're like, they're not being violent, and Michael's like, it's in their nature, which is a little gross. Like, that's gross, because there's been no contact with the Klingons so far. They're just kind of there.
Yeah, and just a little fun facts here. As kind of Burnham walks in and you see Giorgio talking to the Admiral, there's like some shelves in the background here, and you can't really see a lot of this, but apparently her office is filled with like Star Trek Easter eggs.
Oh sure.
So like there is like a bottle of 2249 Chateau Picard wine, Starfleet medals that were previously awarded to Archer and Kirk, a diploma from an Andorian military academy. And there's a whole bunch of books on the shelves, but they all have like TOS episode names. So they've got like The Cage, Balance of Terror, City on the Edge of Forever. There's like a whole bunch of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Are you sure they weren't just romance novels?
That's fine.
Hard to say.
Okay. This whole conversation is very military oriented, which, as much as I always talk about how the Starfleet is the military, the newer shows do lean into that much harder. So like this is not a surprise. We're their only line of defense, et cetera, and we're not going to back down. There's backup on the way, coming to put forward an aggressive stance towards the Klingons. Yada yada yada, and then the beacon gets lit.
You mean the space flashbang?
The beacon is so fucking bright that it's like shining into the fucking flashbang. Into the bridge. And Giorgio's like, oh my god, fucking why did you close the filters,
yeah.
The filters, and Saru's like, the filters are at 100%. So I guess like the filters, even at 100%, aren't as good as putting up like a curtain. Because it's just light. Like, put up a fucking curtain, you'll be fine. Act 4. The light is, I guess, as dim as it's gonna get, but still bright as fuck. There's like a screeching noise coming through the speakers, but then they turn the speakers off, but then the screeching noise is still there, and they're like, why did you turn the speakers off? And apparently, like, the EM radiation from this beacon is so massive, it's just vibrating the whole ship, which is wild. Burnham is like, I gotta make an emergency call, and so she goes off to call Sarek, which is her her adopted dad.
Vulcan dad.
My first note is, all right, Sarek, don't be a dick, Christ. Which I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something fucking rude.
Like the third actor to play Sarek, by the way, too.
I think I know what
it's gotta be more than that.
It was that, you know, he was glad to see she was alive or something.
There's actually, he's the third, like, regular timeline actor to do it.
Oh, okay.
But Mark Leonard and Jonathan Simpson played him previously, although there was a Ben Cross as the other actor, but his was an alternate reality counterpart in a deleted scene nonetheless. So,
what about the Kelvin one?
Like I said, prime time one.
Right, okay. All right. Sarek points out that, like, apparently the whole quadrant is reporting that there's a new star in the sky, which, man, the photons from this beacon traveled real fucking fast. If people are saying there's a new star in the sky, I don't get how this beacon, okay. I'm trying to be nice because, like, I don't hate this show. I actually like this show. This beacon was dumb. Because it felt like it was supposed to be kind of like a Lord of the Rings kind of beacon thing. But, like,
light the beacon.
But, like, light only goes the same speed. That's kind of its whole thing. So, like, it wouldn't go very far. I don't know. I don't like this beacon. This beacon is stupid.
No, you know what? They just sat there for a couple of decades and waited for everybody else to show up.
Right. So, anyways, Sarek's like, so what's going on? Burnham's like, well, there's this one ship that was cloaked, and then they decloaked, but they haven't attacked us yet. And Sarek's like, you mean this one ship did something a little weird? It must be a once-in-a-millennium unifier that is going to bring the whole Empire to bear upon us, which is a wild logical leap. There were several steps that Sarek took in his brain there that were not evidenced.
But wasn't he right, though?
Yeah, Matthew, I locked the doors so we wouldn't get looters with the power outage. There were no looters. Therefore.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Joke's on me. He was right.
That was the dumb bitch.
So anyway, Sarek's implied and to give you the title of the episode, Sarek's implied course of action is that Burnham should shoot first at the Klingons and ask questions later. They go up on the bridge of the ship, and she argues with Georgiou to do this. She gives them what is called the Vulcan hello, because she's saying that the Vulcans learned to always shoot first at the Klingons because the Klingons only respect violence. Georgiou says Starfleet doesn't fire first, and that should be the end of the argument. That should be the end of the argument. Apparently, Georgiou also believes that should be the end of the argument, because when Michael responds to that, Georgiou's like, I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say to me, bitch? And calls her into her briefing room to say, why the fuck are you, defying me in front of everybody? Which, good point. What are you doing, Burnham?
Right, so, I am sure the intention of this was to portray Burnham as being unduly influenced by her past.
Which I think is a fine character tool, because her colony was blown up by Klingons.
Yes.
Right.
I think the problem is that wasn't put across effectively enough, because the only time that's talked about is in that flashback scene.
Right, where the school
where she's
was
a child.
Really mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Where she's a child.
A literal child, yeah.
It's not referenced with her in her adult form at all. So I don't know, it just seemed out of place, and not the link wasn't there enough for me.
Right.
Yeah, I think it kind of ties back into what Stanford was saying earlier, where they had to fit a whole lot of character development into, 25 minutes before the action heated up.
And I guess my point in saying that is no, they didn't have to. That's just the decision they made, And I think that they could have scrimped. I think they could have skimped on. I think they could have just not gone with the Klingons at all. We could have talked to them later. Don't get in the Klingon ship at all. Spend that time developing these things that are fine tools in a character's toolbox, but you can't just throw all the tools at a wall and then suddenly the car is built. That's not how tools work. You need to actually use them and show us using them. She doesn't actually ever explain what Sarek said. She's just doing this Vulcan hello nonsense. Cause tell Georgiou who you talked to and why. What expertise are you? Cause Sarek is a diplomat. He's not nobody. You have theoretically evidence for your side of this argument, but she doesn't. So instead, she just nerve pinches Georgiou. Then she comes out of Georgiou's room and starts ordering everyone to do exactly the opposite of what the captain had just told them to do less than 2 minutes ago. And somehow Saru's the only one who was can we wait? Hold on 1 second.
It's you just went into that office with her.
Where to is get she? Yelled at. Yeah. And Burnham's she's calling her Canadian girlfriend. Don't go in there. It's fine. And fortunately, Georgiou apparently is the fastest neck pinch recoverer ever, because 3 seconds later she comes out of there and is stop it.
I said, bitch.
Now, I will commend the Klingon Empire, who I do give a lot of guff, although Klingons generally metal as fuck, we all agree. But they're the militaristic empire is kind of a silly concept in general, and I do give them a lot of guff. But you know what the Klingons are really good at?
What's that?
Synchronized warp-ins. Because these Klingons, who were called from very opposite ends of their little sector, by this beacon, all show up at the exact same second, and it's really cool. So, if joke's on me, I guess the Klingons got something right. And that's the end of the episode as we TBC to the next week. Although I guess in a way, most Discovery episodes will be TBC.
Yeah.
Right. We're fully in the serialized format at this point.
Yepers. So how are we feeling on a scale from 1 to 5, where 0 is Voyager's threshold? How are we feeling about this week's episode? I'll start with Rob.
Krob.
With Krob.
With Krob. So I don't know if it's just that I like this format of TV better, but like I just immediately wanted to give this a 4. Like it's not great, but it's so much better than what I'm used to.
Sure.
Like
So it's
I like
4
the
then?
music. Yeah, I love all the new visuals. The uniforms are fucking awesome. Like I'm happy to be here. I don't know.
All right, Chris.
Okay. So I think the episode certainly had its challenges. It was rush pacing a little bit at times, and it was a lot of exposition to kind of catch the audience up so we could be on board for all the action happening. That being said, the visuals were fantastic. I do like the vibe of the show right off the bat. Although I did hate the Klingons. And as Rob said, coming off of Enterprise and one pilot episode of TOS, it felt real good. I'm gonna go with 4.
Okay, so I was at a high 3 when I came into rating this. And I think if I'm honest with myself, I'm gonna stay there, but it's a real high 3. I think that like my biggest like takeaway from episodes is always like the storytelling, like
Sure.
aptitude, and I think that there's a couple of things that they've done here that keep it from being good enough to call it a 4. That had they changed, it definitely would have been a 4. And maybe even like crept it up into greatness. And mostly it's the exposition and wasting time dealing with the Klingons, like on the Klingon ship. I think that they could have, if they dropped all the exposition from the beginning and some of the weird kind of repartee, and then spent that time and then dropped all the Klingon stuff and spent that time actually developing the characters a little slower, I think it could have been a 5. It would have been fucking awesome.
Yep.
The visuals are fantastic, and I will say I appreciate that everyone on this show can fucking act. Like I do like that.
Yep.
So
yeah, I agree. I definitely like. I was wavering a little bit between 3 and 4 because of what we discussed, but yeah, and maybe I'm giving it it's the first episode bonus, you know.
Sure.
they could only do so much.
And I definitely appreciate we finally finished watching Enterprise bump. So
Yeah. And you know, as far as Star Trek pilots go, it's pretty darn good.
I don't disagree. IMDb gave it a 4.
Okay.
All right. So that'll be that. And when we get back, I'll have a deep dive. Welcome back. So, for the deep dive today, I want to talk about the kind of reception that this show had in its earlier days. Because I don't know if you know this, but this show gets a kind of a bad rap. And as like a mini little fun game, what do you think the Rotten Tomatoes scores, both popcorn meter and audience meter, were for the first season of this show?
Then popcorn the audience meter.
Yeah, popcorn's the audience, and then the critics.
Meter.
The critics is what I meant. Yep.
Yeah. Right. I think the tomato critics was like a 65, and
For
then
this-
the popcorn.
For just this season.
Oh, this season.
And then the popcorn was like a 23.
Okay.
I don't know. 72 and 14.
Okay. So the popcorn, the audience was 48% for the first season of this show.
Sure.
Oh, that's a lot higher than I was expecting.
The critics was 83%.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, I
The
think it was
critics
generally a
loved
well-executed
this
show.
Yes. Now, I was trying to look back at some of the actual reviews from when the show first aired, like in that first couple of weeks, okay? Because there's a lot of reviews from like later people watching it or binging it or whatever, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see like what were people saying around when the show first aired. And in general, the general critics were like, look, the visuals are great. The acting seems fine. It's Star Trek, but like also it's kind of wider audience appealing Star Trek. It definitely feels like a modern show instead of like being a kind of a throwback. And they're like, it seems like it, it looks like it's trying to find its way in the first episode or two, but it'll get there. It feels good. That's generally the vibe that the big critics are giving this show. Okay. There were definitely some critics, obviously it's only got an 83%, so there were definitely critics who didn't care for it. Most of their complaints are like, I don't want to see Star Trek be gritty and modern the way that, TV was in 2017 and still kind of is in some ways. So like, which I don't think is an invalid comment. Yeah, I think that that's a fine. I think that there's certainly, I think that like, I don't know if I would call this shit like straight up gritty the way that some shows got in those eras, but like it's definitely a
gritty for Star Trek,
grounded and gritty take on Star Trek than previous previous series. Absolutely.
Well, two, it's also the first, really show that's 100% serialized.
Right.
Which I mean, Star Trek before now is very much episodic, and that's kind of where it lives. So, and
I will say, visually, this show so far has been very dark, like almost noir-y at points. There's a lot of high contrast between like the space scenes and the inside of the ship scenes, but also like the bridge is very like a lot of strong dark colors, not just like a well-lit room. It's a lot of like dark floors, dark uniforms, like very well lit consoles and stuff in that like 2017 aesthetic.
I was gonna say, this is peak, Game of Thrones era, right? So like everything's got to be fucking dark, and this is my least favorite.
We're in dark mode, baby.
Oh, I hate it. Like I remember watching one of those Star Wars shows. I can't see anything happening.
Oh my god! We just watched. Oh, Silo was bad about that.
Oh, in that 1 second Silo, yeah.
And Severance got that way a couple of times too. Where I'm like, I can't see what the fuck is happening. So generally, critics liked it. Certainly understood that it was a pilot. It was new, but like let's see where it's gonna go. As maybe indicated by the 48%, the audience was not as happy. Now, because of how Rotten Tomatoes works, it is hard for me to go back to
the time
because I can't sort by date. It's already sorted by date as like most recent up top. Mm-hmm. And like there are thousands of like user reviews. So by the time I'm already in like 2019, it's taking so long to load the next like 40 reviews or whatever that like I would be doing it for days, and it would probably time out by the time I got down to 2017. But in general, there are some complaints that you can see that are kind of like throughout for this season. A lot of it is like, this is woke leftist garbage. Now, some of that's coming later. Okay, so those reviews were coming in 2020, 2021. Typical for those eras of internet discourse.
I mean, I don't particularly remember, maybe it's been a while since I watched the show, but I don't remember it like a whole lot of, besides there being like, I don't know, a gay doctor. I mean...
It's a black woman captain, Chris.
In charge. That's
a black female captain.
But I mean, they already had a black captain. Like, they had a woman captain. They did both this time.
They had a woman captain. They had a black captain. They did not have a black female captain.
And their science officer is an illegal alien.
Yeah, and how well was Voyager received?
Not well.
How well was Janeway received?
It's all come back around. Don't worry.
So there's a fair amount of that. Now, looking through reviews that are critical of the show and not complaining about that, you get a lot of the same kind of Star Trek is supposed to be optimistic. What is this grimdark crap? Which calling Discovery grimdark is real funny to me. However, that is that standard, and like I said, it is a valid opinion that
didn't
this
Enterprise
show
blow up Florida?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the point now.
Just checking.
Just cut it in half.
An entire season was dedicated.
Didn't Enterprise
to...
castrate Florida?
Yeah, a floridectomy. Yeah.
Okay.
So like, again, it's fine. I understand that people don't care for Star Trek being gritty. It's the same thing they said about Stargate Universe, which they were dead wrong about, but fuck that.
It was a great show, man.
However, some people said they don't like the writing, which, I don't know. The problem is, like, I think there is a distinct difference
I've seen
between
much worse Star Trek writing.
The plot writing and the dialogue writing. I don't disagree that the dialogue in this show feels a little like, what are y'all doing? Come on. You don't need to speech at each other. Let's go.
Yeah.
But, like, the plots are fine. And yes, again, I've seen much worse Star Trek writing. But one of the complaints that keeps coming back over and over again that I do not understand is that the actors are they're not doing a good job acting. And I don't understand that particular opinion. Because what are you talking about? They're doing a fine job.
Yeah, I don't. Besides, I sometimes get annoyed with Sonequa Martin Green's deliveries. Especially later on, I think generally the acting's been too. I don't know. I just like it seems.
I think she's fantastic. I thought she was fucking fantastic.
I like her in some other stuff I've seen her in, and I don't know. It's just like she just comes across as like I can't even really put my finger on it. It just it's not believable. Like I'm not. Her performance sometimes takes me out of the scene.
You know what I think they should have done? I think that, in order to bring the acting of the show just up a notch across the board, they should have casted Scott Bakula to play Lorca.
He definitely has a Lorca feel to him.
Oh my god, fucking Lorca.
And like, I guess that's fine, but that doesn't mean she's doing a bad job if she doesn't do the delivery you would expect,
It's not that it's what I expect. It's just sometimes I think her delivery doesn't fit the tone of the scene.
Okay.
I don't
agree. I don't think that happened in this particular episode, but like,
I don't think so either.
I could see later.
And it's Michelle Yeoh. Like, I mean, I know at the time we didn't know about Section 31, but like, it's Michelle Yeoh.
What about her?
How's the acting bad when?
Generally, I don't know why people are like the acting in this show is terrible. Like,
no,
talking about
in a general sense, I completely disagree. I thought the acting was pretty good in the show.
Now I do want to call out one specific review, because it was very funny to me. First of all, it starts with agenda pushing, Mary Sue loving, you go girl garbage, which is like, wow, just lay it all out. And here's the fun part. The wheelchair guy in a universe where virtually any injury can be easily remedied was what lost it for me. I just couldn't.
What wheelchair guy?
Well, that's the question. Do you know what wheelchair guy they're talking about?
No. It's been a while since I've seen season 1.
So there's been 2 wheelchairs in Discovery. One was Pike in those like flashback scenes with the time crystal and whatnot. This guy is not talking about that guy. There is a person who is a member of the crew who is in a wheelchair for at least part of season 2.
The actor.
Well, I'm not done. You see him on the back of the bridge. He's rolling by in a wheelchair, in uniform, etc., but in a wheelchair. That actor is paraplegic. He was not paraplegic when he got the role. He has been an extra on the show, got injured, And then they brought him back on the show in his wheelchair, like, fucking, of course you could still have your job. So the fact that this guy's complaint was about the wheelchair guy that got hurt and the show let him keep his job is so fucking rich. I don't know how to, like, stomach it. It's like a sweet mousse of right-wing indignancy that's just, oh my God, it's too much. Like, dude, what the fuck?
I'm sure he took no time to actually research that at all.
But also, like, people could be in wheelchairs, asshole. Fuck off, you know? And I know that I'm a little biased on that particular element of this, but also, like, just let it fucking go, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's just, and it's what's going on. Just people.
And also, this character I don't think ever had a line. Like, he's just an extra in the background. I wonder if this guy's got an issue with the Melora episode of DS9.
No, yeah, it just, like, people decide that something represents something that they're supposed to hate, so they pick every minor detail and blow it up. So
yeah,
like, Star Trek has been pushing progressive policies through its entire history. I don't understand the people that are like, this is woke. Or, like, they're the same people that get upset in that Star Wars, like, the Empire is all the white people, and then the rebels are always, like, the scrappy illegal aliens. Like, no shit.
Do you know what Star Wars is about? Like, fuck.
Right.
Because the funny thing is, these are the same people who are like, Thrawn was the best character ever. I'm like, did you read the things about Thrawn? Do you know why he was doing what he was doing? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, are these the same people watching The Boys?
Yeah,
I'm
sure there's a Venn diagram that's basically a circle there.
Basically a circle, yeah. So, anyways, this show has, I think, and I'm not saying it's not justified. I think that this show got a lot more backlash as it kept going. However, a lot of the very vocal internet backlash against this show, especially after the first couple years when you start getting into those 2020s era, is a lot of like, damn, lefties in their Star Trek.
Well, I mean,
which is stupid.
But, I mean, 2016 is when this came out, right?
2017, yeah.
2017. We're kind of in prime time for Trumpism at that point, so...
Right. Yep, yeah. You're dealing with that shit then, too. Yep.
There's a lot of bleed over there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it's only going to get worse.
Oh, yeah. But I will say, as a personal note, I am excited to start this show. It is fun to start a new show because it's the first time we've really kind of done that on the podcast. And I do like this one. And I'm curious how my tone for these summaries will change, because I did not like Enterprise. I thought it was a bad show. I thought it was a bad show from a 2025 perspective. I thought it was a bad show back in 2004. So, like, it was bad. I like this show. Even if I do have complaints about it, I like it.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see how that goes.
Bring back the F-bombometer.
Yeah, it'll be nice when you're just not cursing through half the summary.
We're calling everything stupid.
Yep.
Are you two also like looking forward to this, or are you like looking forward to just getting it done and then moving on?
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I did eventually watch the later part of Discovery.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I really like everything up until the burn. And so then I don't really like it.
That's where I'm at for it. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed the first couple seasons. Really, once they kind of hit the future times is when it really fell off for me.
Sure.
So, the part we're going to do, in the next little bit, yeah.
It got exhausting.
Yeah, well, that's it. I think that's the perfect description for it in the later seasons, is that it's just like, I mean...
It's just too many problems. Too many problems, not enough solutions.
It's like,
I felt like every time we had to sit down and it's like, okay, all right, we're going to sit down. We're going to watch an episode. So, like, you take some deep breaths and you prepare yourself.
This is why Kelsey would watch Breaking Bad with me.
Oh, yeah. I
She was like, this is exhausting.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And luckily, we get to save that for later.
Yeah.
So this part we're going to be doing, I am looking forward to.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, that'll be the end of my deep dive. And when we get back, we'll do a little potpourri with Rob. No. Yeah.
Me?
No, Chris. Like I've never done this before.
Welcome back, everybody. All right, so for our potpourri today, I figured we're working with a new cast, so I wanted to start by maybe getting to know our main character, Michael Burnham, played by Sonequa Martin Green, a little better. Just wanted to go through her acting history and what else she's done, just so we have a better sense of where she's coming from in this series. So Sonequa Shante Martin Green was an American actress born in Alabama. As we kind of mentioned before, Discovery is really what she's best known for. That's kind of been her biggest role so far. Before that, her biggest role was probably as Sasha Williams of The Walking Dead. She was a recurring character on there for a couple seasons. I forgot
she was in that show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was in the later seasons, which kind of like Discovery is where the show fell off, in my opinion.
I think the first season where she showed up was the last season I watched. It was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, that sounds right. And like I said, after that, I think the show fell off anyway. So,
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. This is a hot take. Walking Dead, not really a great show. It was fine, like it was all right, but I wouldn't say it was great.
I enjoyed watching it. Like I said, I fell off at the later seasons, but I generally enjoyed it. Before that, Sonequa Martin Green starred in several independent films before gaining her first recurring role as Courtney Wells on The Good Wife. While she's primarily known for television roles, she has made she's been in a few films. Her debut film was in 2009, where she played the role of Tasha Spinner in Toe to Toe, which is basically she's this determined scholarship student who's seeking to build a brighter future outside of her town and away from her kind of poor Washington neighborhood upbringing. She made her television debut in 2008 in Law & Order Criminal Intent, which I swear is like where every actor starts in some Law & Order episode.
Well, to be fair, there's lots of them. Yeah.
She gained her first recurring role on Army Wives as Kenessa Jones, and then in 2009, Courtney Wells in The Good Wife. Her first recurring role playing an adult character as opposed to playing a teenager with her previous roles. She appeared. It was The Good Wife. She did also make a couple appearances in Gossip Girl. She played kind of a recurring character in New Girl for a couple episodes. She has also been in a couple more recent movies, though no major roles. Like she was in that new Space Jam movie as
I was about to say she was in Space Jam.
Yeah.
Oh,
she was his wife.
Oh, is she the mom? Yeah.
Yeah, she was the mom.
Oh, I forgot about that. That movie was fine. It was
just as good as the original Space Jam that for some reason people like have put on this pedestal as a great film.
Not wrong. It had Don Cheadle in it. That was fun. It had Michael Jordan. One of them.
I watched both of those movies like about the time the second one came out. Like I watched them with the kids and like it's same level of quality of acting and storyline.
Sure.
Yeah, we watched them with Liam, and Liam was into the Roadrunner too. So
I didn't watch the first one again with y'all. I think you and him may have watched that without me.
We watched it. Yeah, I watched it with Liam. Yeah. And that's when we kind of he kind of got more into Looney Tunes, and him and I were watching Tiny Toons and Animaniacs.
Oh yeah,
Tiny Toons.
Nice. Back to Sonequa Martin Green. She, in 2012, as I mentioned, was cast in The Walking Dead as Sasha, who was the character Tyrese's sister. Sasha's actually an original character to that, because that show was based off of the graphic novel. She was created. That character was created for the show. She apparently also originally auditioned for the role of Michonne, but when Denai Guerrera, who got the part, the former showrunner Glenn Mazzara still liked Martin Green enough to be part of the show and decided to create the role of Sasha for her specifically.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Martin Green said Sasha was supposed to be a recurring character. As we kept going forward, they picked up my option to be a regular. She just appreciated what the showrunner did and said she'd hit it off with him, and I guess they wanted to work together. So, in 2016 is when she her role as the lead actor of Star Trek Discovery was reported and officially confirmed by CBS. She, of course, debuted as Michael Burnham in the Vulcan Hello, the episode we just watched, and was the main character of the show throughout the entire series. I thought there was a couple interesting press releases and opinions on and kind of interviews that were done around it. The co-creator, Brian Fuller, had said as a lieutenant commander with caveats is kind of what the character was. Described as they've seen 6 series from the captain's point of view, and to see a character from a new perspective on the starship, one who has different dynamic relationships with the captain, subordinates, they wanted to see kind of that richer context, which
that was their plan.
Yeah, apparently.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
The problem is that if that was their plan, they did a poor job because there was no question in my mind when I first started watching, this bitch is going to be captain someday.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I don't know. I don't.
Well, I mean, it's brought up in the first 5 minutes of the first episode.
That's though they're talking about that as they're walking around the desert planet. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm sorry. If they wanted to do a show from the perspective of a Riker character, I could see that working if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But this is not that show.
Agreed. Yeah. On the personal side, Martin Green married fellow actor Kenrick Green on December 4th, 2010. In 2015, Martin Green gave birth to a baby boy. She was actually pregnant during the 5th season filming of The Walking Dead, so they did that classic cover up the pregnancy.
Baggy clothes and shit.
I thought this was funny, actually. Wearing thicker layers of clothing and using larger guns. So
that is funny.
That's
funny. Fuck yeah.
She also has a baby girl who she gave birth to in 2020. She has also been, since 2016, an ambassador for Stand Up to Cancer.
How old is she?
She is...
Ew. We're getting to the point
40.
now where... Oh, wow, her children are young. We're getting to the point where, actors are younger than us, and it's weird.
Yeah, she's not, just barely, but or at least
she's younger than Mariah.
Okay.
Wow.
Calm down.
Damn. Anyway, as I was saying, she's an ambassador for Stand Up to Cancer, encouraging clinical trials with special emphasis on outreach in ethnically diverse communities. In an interview in 2018, Martin Green said that her mother had been fighting 3 types of cancer, and one of her half-sisters had breast cancer as well. She also, unfortunately, recently lost both her parents. In July 13th of 2021, she announced that both her parents had died, her father on April 9th, 2021, and her mother on April 10th, 2021, due to unrelated reasons.
Fuck off. That sucks.
Yeah, so...
I don't know why it sucks worse, but, it feels harsher than, them being in a car together. And
right, yeah, it's if they're just in a car together, then that's just,
right,
bad.
Especially when I consider that her parents weren't all that old. I mean, her mom was battling 3 types of cancer or whatever, but,
right, yeah.
Her parents couldn't have been much past their 60s or 70s, right? They couldn't have been that terribly old.
I didn't find what specifically the mother died of. I assume it was the cancer, but also they had mentioned that her dad had liver cancer as well. So
Jesus Christ, that sucks.
Yep. So, yep, that is just a unfortunately sad note to end on, but a brief kind of background and acting history on Sonequa Martin Green. Somebody who will be getting to know a little bit more here in the near future.
Yeah. So I think, what did I have here? These first 2 seasons of Discovery, where we will, and then we will stop after that and move on, are 29 episodes. So
that's like one season,
just over a season of Enterprise. So we will be doing Discovery for only about 6 months, and then we're moving on.
Strange New Worlds.
All right.
Strange New Worlds so far has exactly 20 episodes. They're 10 episode seasons. By the time we get there, I assume season 3 will be out.
Oh, that should be fun.
But yeah, we should we'll probably be doing Strange New Worlds when season 3 drops. So that's fun.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that'd be good.
Oh, that is fun.
All right. Well, as Stanford said at the top of the show, please rate, review, subscribe, tell all your friends, do all those things. Spread the word is basically what we're looking for there. And we will catch you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. You can follow us on Twitter at PodCLS or send us hate mail at podcls3@gmail.com.